China, 1911. The Qing dynasty collapses, ending 2,000 years of imperial rule. But what emerges isn't a modern nation, it's a fractured society, torn between ancient traditions and foreign ideas. Into this chaos steps a man who will become China's most influential writer. Lu Xun was born in 1881 in Shaoxing, Zhejiang province. His family belonged to the educated gentry class, but their fortunes were declining. Young Zhou witnessed firsthand the contradictions of late imperial China. At 17, he left for Nanjing to study at a modern school. There, he encountered Western science and medicine, a revelation that would shape his thinking. He believed China needed new knowledge to survive. In 1902, he won a government scholarship to study in Japan. Initially, he pursued medicine, believing physical health was China's most urgent need. But a classroom incident would change everything. During a slideshow, he saw images of Chinese bystanders watching the execution of their countrymen by Japanese soldiers. They appeared indifferent, even curious. Lu Xun realized China's sickness wasn't physical, it was spiritual. He abandoned medicine for literature, declaring, "The most important thing was to change their spirit, and at that time, I believed that literature was the best means to this end." The writer Lu Xun was born. Returning to China in 1909, he taught while writing essays criticizing traditional culture. He argued China's Confucian heritage had become a man-eating society that devoured individuality and progress. In 1918, he published Diary of a Madman under his pen name Lu Xun. The story, written as a madman's journal, reveals a shocking truth. Chinese history is a record of cannibalism, not literal eating, but the destruction of human spirit. The madman reads classical texts and sees only the words "eat people" between the lines. Lu Xun's message was clear. Traditional morality consumed human dignity. The story electrified China's literary scene. Lu Xun followed with The True Story of RQ in 1921. RQ, a poor laborer, represents what Lu Xun called China's national character, a blend of arrogance, self-deception, and spiritual victory in the face of defeat. When humiliated, RQ declares himself morally superior. When beaten, he claims it's because he's better than his oppressor. This spiritual victory allowed Chinese people to accept oppression without rebellion. Lu Xun diagnosed this as a survival mechanism developed over centuries of authoritarian rule. The Chinese people had learned to find victory in defeat, preserving their dignity while accepting their chains. His stories exposed other social diseases: the hypocrisy of the educated class in Kang Yiji, the oppression of women in the New Year's Sacrifice, and the emptiness of revolution in Storm in a Teacup. Lu Xun didn't just criticize, he offered a cure. He advocated for cultural therapy, exposing social illnesses through literature, then rebuilding China's spirit with new values. He translated foreign works to introduce fresh ideas. He founded literary magazines, mentored young writers, and engaged in fierce debates with conservatives. His home in Shanghai became a hub for progressive intellectuals during the 1920s and 30s. But Lu Xun grew disillusioned. He saw the 1911 revolution fail to bring real change. The May 4th movement's promise faded. China remained trapped between feudal past and uncertain future. His later works grew darker. In The New Year's Sacrifice, the protagonist Xianglin's wife is destroyed by superstition and social prejudice. Her repeated question, "Do people become ghosts after death?" echoes China's spiritual confusion. Lu Xun also turned to political activism. While never joining the Communist Party, he sympathized with leftist causes. He saw literature and revolution as twin tools for China's transformation. He founded the League of Left-Wing Writers in 1930, promoting literature that served the masses. But he criticized simplistic propaganda, insisting art must maintain its integrity to be effective. Throughout the 1930s, Lu Xun wrote savage satires against the nationalist government and Japanese aggression. His essays became weapons, his pen mightier than any army in diagnosing China's continuing sickness. In 1936, tuberculosis claimed him at 55. His funeral drew thousands. His coffin was draped with the words, "National Soul," a tribute to the man who had spent his life diagnosing China's spiritual condition. Mao Zedong would later call him the chief commander of China's Cultural Revolution. Both communists and liberals claimed him as their inspiration, but Lu Xun defied simple categorization. His diagnosis remains relevant. The RQ mentality still appears in modern Chinese psychology. The tension between tradition and modernity continues. Lu Xun's questions about national character still haunt China. Lu Xun saw literature as a mirror, not to flatter, but to show ugly truths. He believed only by facing these truths could China heal. His stories were X-rays of the national soul. He rejected easy answers. When asked about China's future, he famously compared it to a path that appears when people walk it. There was no predetermined destiny, only choices to be made. Today, Lu Xun's works are required reading in Chinese schools. Students analyze his criticisms, though sometimes selectively. His legacy is both celebrated and carefully managed. Western readers discover a writer who speaks to universal human conditions. His themes of alienation, social pressure, and the search for meaning transcend Chinese particularities. Lu Xun's method was diagnosis, not prescription. He showed China its diseases, but offered no simple cure. He believed the patient, the Chinese people, must find their own healing. His personal life reflected his themes. He struggled with depression, had a complicated marriage, and faced constant persecution. The diagnostician of China's soul couldn't fully heal his own. Yet he wrote relentlessly, essays, stories, translations, letters, over 10 million words in his collected works. Each sentence aimed to awaken, to challenge, to force recognition of uncomfortable truths. Lu Xun redefined Chinese literature's purpose. Before him, literature often served morality or entertainment. After him, it became a tool for social criticism and national introspection. He created a new Chinese language, blending classical phrases with vernacular speech, Western syntax with local idioms. His style was as revolutionary as his content. The Lu Xun style became a model, concise, piercing, unforgettable. He could capture a character's essence in a few sentences, expose a social truth in a single image. His influence extends beyond literature. Psychologists study RQ syndrome. Sociologists examine his analysis of collective behavior. Political scientists debate his views on revolution and reform. In his final years, Lu Xun wondered if his diagnosis had been heard. Had China understood its sickness, or was it still practicing spiritual victory on a national scale? He died as Japan invaded, before seeing either China's darkest hours or its eventual revival. His diagnosis would be tested by war, revolution, and unprecedented transformation. Today, we read Lu Xun not just as history, but as a continuing conversation. His questions about tradition, modernity, and national character remain urgent. His diagnosis still challenges us. The writer who diagnosed China's soul left no complete cure, but he gave China something more valuable, the courage to look at itself honestly. In an age of easy answers, Lu Xun's uncomfortable truths remain essential. He taught that national renewal begins with individual awakening, that before changing systems, we must change minds, that the most revolutionary act might be simply to see clearly and to speak what we see.